Stradler, where are you? Get back in your cubicle. I'm not paying you to uncubicle yourself.
Hey friends! So today I'm going to talk to you about Camping World. This is basically a real world review of my experience at Camping World. All in all, it wasn't good. Before I get too far into this, let's just say I'm coming from a situation where I have an older trailer. It's a 93 fifth wheel. It's got old components, old appliances, etc., etc. I do understand that with that sometimes comes parts being obsolete. I ran into it a little bit with my little trailer. To get back on point, I understand that. This is an older trailer. It's got older pieces. I dealt with that with the board on the fridge. I'm dealing with that with trying to find a cover for the AC because I took a branch and cracked that one. That said, there's something to be said for RV repair places and RV techs that can think outside the box, basically. I found that Camping World in general, or at least the one that I dealt with, they're basically constrained to this little corporate box that Camping World headquarters has put them in. They can't do anything that might solve a problem that isn't in a manual. Oh, well, that part's in the manual and that part number is this, and Norkel said that part number is obsolete, so we can't help you. That's basically what happened with me. Now, to backtrack, I was catching a whiff here and there of propane. I was starting to smell it a little more regularly. I called ahead, booked an appointment in Camping World in Katy, Texas. They got me in when they said I was going to get in. I was there the night before, parked in the parking lot. First thing in the morning, wham bam, I was in. I booked myself in for a propane system test, like an inspection, as well as repairs. If they found something that needed to be replaced, I wanted it replaced. That was the agenda. So they took it in, did the test. The tech found that there is a valve on the back of my fridge that was leaking. Here's a little video I took. It's a little out of focus because I put the GoPro too close to it, but this is what I took before swapping it out. They found this valve that was leaking, and he writes it down on the invoice as a safety valve and burner tube assembly. Part number, blah, blah, blah. He gives that to the service advisor, the guy at the desk that everybody talks to, and he looks it up, and part number, blah, blah, blah is obsolete. Can't get it anymore. They can't order the part. Okay, fine. Is there an alternative? Well, sometimes Norkel comes up with use this one instead. So he talks to the parts person. She looks it up and phones Norkel and can't remember her dealer ID number, so waits on hold for however long, and then finally gets through. Nope, there's no alternative. Okay, what do we do? Basically, Camping World's solution was, well, you can replace the fridge. That's it. That's all you can help me with is replace the fridge. Yep, that's about it. Or if you want, you can, go outside and see if you can find like a used part or whatever of that number. So initially, that's what I did. I went back to the trailer, fired up Google, started looking for the part number, found a couple of old websites that didn't have any more anymore. But over the course of that, I also came across a salvage website. So I phoned there just to see if they had like a used one or old stock or whatever, because I had heard somewhere along the line that sometimes websites have, like these salvage places have actual new parts, but it's old stock and there's not any demand for it, so sometimes it's just kicking around the back. So I phoned a couple of those, and nobody seemed to have it, but one guy mentioned something to me. He said, well, why don't you just replace the valve? I'm like, well, that's kind of what I was thinking. If that's what's leaking, why don't you just replace that part, not the whole assembly? Because, like I said, the guy had written down this whole burner tube assembly, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I went back into the Camping World and, again, waited in line, did all of, that to talk to somebody. And I said, can I just have the guy show me exactly what part was leaking? Because I didn't quite know at this part. There's, you look at the back of a fridge and, I'm not mechanically inclined. I'm not that, adept at this kind of stuff. So the service advisor and the tech came out on the little golf cart, because I was out in the parking lot, and opened up the back of the fridge, pointed at the valve, which I thought it was, but I wanted to be sure. That's what was leaking. I'm like, okay, well, why can't we just replace that? And he goes, well, because the part number says it's obsolete. Okay. But there's no other, like, it's a valve. There's a line in and a line out, and it's got a little switch on it so you could turn the propane off in an emergency or for storage, and that's it. It's a valve. Can't any other valve be adapted to fit there? Possibly, but we can't do that. Why can't you do that? Because it's not the right part number. Okay, so instead of replacing a leaky valve that's leaking propane and sending me on my way, you're going to say you can't do it, and I'm going to, I didn't, but hypothetically, I'm going to drive away and have a leaky propane valve for God knows how long. That's okay. So basically, the service advisor hinted at, he didn't outright say it, but basically he said, Camping World has insurance policies and this and that, and it's all driven from corporate headquarters where they can't do any kind of workaround or any kind of adaptation to get you on your way. So if you got an older RV, don't go to Camping World, because if the part comes up as obsolete, they're not going to be able to help you. If you're, he even said that some of the ones like in the 2000s are coming up where parts are discontinued and obsolete already. And again, I'm assuming under their corporate mandate, they can't help you. So he hinted at and advised me that, maybe look into like one of the mobile guys that can come out and help you. He might be able to like do something like a workaround. And I'm like, oh, so I'm going to call a mobile guy and whatever. So to make a long story longer, once I knew exactly what valve was leaking, I'm like, that just looks like it's a pretty common valve. I went in, Googled, I think it was the first or second thing I put in, Norcold RV refrigerator shutoff valve. Boom. The little strip of pictures that come across your Google search bar was exactly the same part I was looking for. The exact same part that was leaking on my fridge came up on Google. Oh, look, there's one on Amazon. Click, $24. So within 10 minutes, I ordered a replacement part that Camping World couldn't help me with and got it sent to an address close to where I'm at now. Yesterday, I went and picked up that part from the postal outlet, and me, being not very mechanically inclined, undid, 5 screws, 3 fittings, replaced it, tightened it, tested it with some soapy water, just like I did the first one to show you that it was leaking. One fitting connection wasn't quite tight enough. It showed me a couple little bubbles. I did it up tighter. Fridge is working fine. No propane smell. Everything's good. So yeah, I learned that I can do stuff on my own. That's fine. But as far as Camping World goes, after the test, they pretty much proved useless. because they're mandated by all this corporate insurance and policies and etc., where they can't work around that to help you. So that said, did I get what I wanted? Well, I went in and got the test, and they did that right. Pros and cons. Nick, the guy that helped me, was pretty friendly. The downside to that is I don't know what it is in that place, and I don't know if it's in every Camping World, but I noticed it definitely in that place. You'll be talking to him, asking questions, getting answers, and some other employee will come up, and all of a sudden you're invisible. You're invisible for like 2 minutes while they have a conversation. I was just talking to you. It happened with him, and it happened with the lady that does the parts. You know, you're talking about your problem, trying to figure out a solution, and some employee comes up and she just turns her back on you and starts talking to her. Oh, we'll just go stock that shelf or do whatever, and blah blah blah. It's like common courtesy. Hello. So, anyways, that kind of pissed me off. Nick was trying. He was trying to come up with solutions. I did feel that there was a serious disconnect between the tech and him, because Nick is the guy at the front desk that basically helps the people, but he doesn't know what the part number is. He didn't seem to even know what a valve and tube burner assembly was. I would kind of think that if you're in the service department, you kind of know what certain things are, but maybe that's just me. But he was trying to help. He was friendly, that kind of thing. The place is doing big business. I mean, I don't know how many acres of RVs they had there. But yeah, and maybe I don't count because I'm just a guy on a budget with an old trailer. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But overall, I'll never visit a Camping World again. Screw that. I did the work. I went online and found a freaking part. I mean, it took me, a guy with barely enough tools to do the job and no experience, half an hour. If a tech had rolled up there with his toolbox and the part, he would have had it swapped out in 10-15 minutes. Do the test. Oh, the valve leaks. Okay, well, we can get one of those in. Because, I mean, when I Googled it, there was RV places all over the place that had it. So chances are I could have found it, or they could have found it, at a parts supplier. Had it there, swapped it out, and I would have been on my way and happy. But no, that wasn't the case because it wasn't the right part number. So Camping World gets a fail. Like I said, won't be visiting there. And I learned that I can do small things myself. I mean, I wasn't stoked on it, but I just used common sense. Made sure I turned the fridge off, then I turned the propane off. Started undoing the fittings, and that was about it. Got it done. So yeah, there's my little review / rant about Camping World. Other than that, we'll see you next time. If you got any information out of this video, click like. If you like my videos, click subscribe. And I hope to see you again very soon. All right. Bye-bye.
It's like working with a monkey.